Welcome to another video. It's January 1st, going into January 2nd, and I'm like night back. Gonna do the audio, post commentary audio. What you're seeing here is just trying to finish up weapons that are incomplete. So as you can see on my tactical here, the bolt rifle doesn't have its relic version or its heroic version unlocked. And it's been a while since I played this tactical as well, so you'll see me kind of going through the perks here. He is Prestige 4, and I don't remember what's optimal. I've never really kind of followed the meta. I'm not a min-maxer. I try to make the game easy. I'm old. I don't want to use the block weapons, even though I know they're the most effective when it comes to doing the max amount of damage. I find the fencing weapons are fun, but I am using the heroic version of the chainsword in this guy just because it's heroic. And yeah, I remember the old build with tactical was just maximizing the amount of marks you were getting, and then that new perk where you get your grenade every now and then. And yeah, we're just gonna keep doing the daily stratagems. Today I did select a new mission. It was the first time I saw it. I was unfamiliar with the name. And for those of you who remember, who watched my old video where I said I was starting to paint Marine, I want to find a way to get a Marine capped into the video or cut into the video. There he is, my first little Dark Angel. This was the free mini from going into the store. It was just me, my wife, and the owner of the store, and he was like, "Hey, if you're interested, sit down. We can put one together. It's free, no charge. And if you want, you can paint them here with us too. We do little shops." And we didn't have a lot going on. The kids were with my in-laws, so it was kind of a weird Saturday date for me and my wife. We just were hanging out at the Warhammer store and putting a Space Marine together. She did one, I did one. So that was free. Took them home, and I was committed to the idea of painting an army one day, someday. And so that was my test. The Marine that I just put right there, he was my test. I was like, and just trying to prove to myself that hey, you can get this done. And I wasn't chasing perfection. I know if you get stuck on the details, you could probably be sitting there painting the leg forever, not finding it was perfect like the pictures you saw, and then you redo it. And I didn't want that like self-defeating, breaking yourself down type of attitude going into this hobby. Um, so I just pushed through, I just did my best with the edge highlighting, following a guide from YouTube from Infernal Brush. And I don't know how to link to other people's videos, but yeah, I followed a guy from Infernal Brush. I guess he was an old heavy metal painter. I know they say Eddie, from the European accent. And that's the look I'm going for, the box art look or close to it. And with my Marine, if you got a quick look at that picture there, I did use the gold Aquila instead of the bone Aquila. I just like that look. I like the gold shining stuff, you can see it on the Marine that I'm using here for tactical. I've got gold trim everywhere I could do it. Like way back in the early 2000s, late 90s, there used to be a Games Workshop store at a mall, and I just remember seeing like gold trim everywhere on the Marines, and gold this and gold that, and I kind of like that, it's a space fantasy, and the gold kind of brings out that fantasy element to me. But getting back to this mission, this is the first time I've seen this mission, and I'm going to tell you right now, I like it. I like it a lot. This is probably, out of all the missions that came out, there was that one where you fight the Trigon, I think it is, and then there was that new Chaos mission, and I know that was a long time coming. There were a lot of people were kind of asking for more Chaos Space Marine stuff. I feel like the Tyranids were getting all the love then, and this is back to the Tyranids, but I think this game shines. I mean, just look at all the blood, the gore, the close quarters, the claustrophobic feeling, the infestation, and this was just aesthetically pleasing. When I play Warhammer 40k, when I think about Warhammer 40k, I think about this. I think about the grim dark, setting. I think about you being on a dark, dank ship, klaxons going off, You know, the only light you got is like those blinking lights in the corner. You know, this all the piled up gore here, and you know this biomass. So yeah, this is what I think of when I think of Warhammer 40K. That and Chaos Noise, Space Marine craziness. Oh man, look at me get beat up right here. I saw that orange marker and I was too focused on pressing that button, and I don't know why I didn't even attempt to dodge, but I did pretty good here. I got maybe two perfect parries on him, and this is the chainsword, the heroic chainsword, which I think is just a balanced parry window, so it's still pretty good when it comes to parrying, but it's not as easy as the fencing weapons. And yeah, I'm just going through this mission with these two guys here. I don't remember, you know, off the top of my head, I didn't see what the stratagem things were, but I do know we only have one armor, and there's no armor anywhere in the map. But that's no problem. I mean, I'm not the best at this game, but you know, and there's plenty of ways to refill your armor, and so as long as you got that one going on, so it wasn't too troubling. And this is normal mode, so they aren't hitting that hard. And I am more familiar with fighting Tyranids than I am with Chaos enemies, so this wasn't too harsh, you know, as the missions go. And I do not know how to use this bolt rifle. I gotta tell you, I'm not very, you know, like I'm used to using the bolt carbine, so that hip fire action, you know, getting close into the enemy's face and just, you know, letting it go, and getting a lot of headshot triggers from that, and then the fire rate from the bolt carbine. That's what I'm more used to, but you know, I am trying to work on the weapon, unlocking the weapon tiers here, so I'm using it right now. And some of those habits from the bolt carbine are bleeding into this gameplay, and it's just making me look like I'm shooting wild here. Yeah, I shouldn't say it's making me look. I am shooting wild. Awesome setting, you know. Talk about set pieces here. This is just amazing. All those enemies pouring in. My poor aim. You know, so well, you know, I'm having fun. I saw that Melta. You saw it for the Emperor always. And I was thinking to myself, hey, you know, I got a free equipment every minute. Might as well be using that Melta and blowing up hordes of enemies at a time. And then this area, the enemies, you know, even though it showed that huge wave of enemies there, but at least the density up close and personal, it seemed pretty lacking. Trying to get over to this guy, I didn't realize there were so many levels to this place. So I'm running around here, trying to learning as I go. And then he jumps down even more. And yeah, the tunnel vision on the shooting that guy, so I didn't get the parry off on that little guy, the little gauntlet. So he chewed me up, opened up my armor. And this is where I kind of regret picking up the melted bomb, because if I had regular grenades, I would have been able to throw grenades down to that crowd and thin out the horde a little bit. But here I am sitting with a melted bomb that's useless. And that's just from experience in other maps where the melter seems to do like really well in, you know, like devastation or decapitation, I think it's called. And you know, the mission where you go against the Trigon. And of course, there's the horde mode, you know, the siege mode, where I feel like melt bombs are king. And yeah, so we're finishing up here. I'm not used to those sanctified wrath relics. I know they take the spot of a grenade, and I feel like they're more like a melee style weapon with the bulwark or the heavy. When you got enemies crowded on you, you should use that to make everything back off of you a little bit. But I'm sticking to the melt bomb. and I thought more enemies would be attacking us here, so I dropped the Melta. Thought that the bridge was a good choke point, and there's nothing. So, wasted Melta bomb. Here I am opening up the blast door there and blowing up the core as the mission dictates. Just more gaunts flooding in, and like I said, just the splashing, the blood, the crowdedness. This is just amazing. I'm probably saying it too much, but you get the point. This is just the best way to play the game, in my opinion. And while I was playing, I was kind of getting the idea that maybe they were inspired by that Deathwing game. I believe it's called Deathwing. And I know it's an older game, and it has kind of like a legendary status where you play as like a Terminator Space Marine, I believe it's from, the Dark Ages. And you go onto a ship, a Space Hulk. Oh, yeah, so it's Space Hulk. I think it's a Space Hulk game, that's what it's called. And it's some similar, like a very like infested, nothing's left alive on the ship, on the Space Hulk, and claustrophobic, insane amount of enemy numbers, and just you and your equipment. And I was really feeling that vibe from this. I never played the Space Hulk game on tabletop, or if it was an older game, I don't know. It's just something I've heard of when you watch all these different lore videos and stuff throughout the past. And I'm this is what I pictured, when my imagination was piecing together those scenes, those descriptions. This is what I was imagining: a ship infested, just very close, claustrophobic corridors, and yeah. So here we are, getting, I guess, like the Space Marine 2 version of that. And like I said, I wonder if the creators had that in mind when they were putting this mission together, to kind of invoke that Space Hulk, Deathwing style um, gameplay. And if they were, like I said, from my imagination, when all that stuff was being described in YouTube videos and Wikipedia pages and everything, so this is what I imagined. So if that was their aim, I think they did it. And my hat's off to them. Moving forward, mark this guy, and I get the scan on him. I kind of remember, hey, what's my job to mark these guys and scan them, so that way we can do more damage. Let's see. This makes me wonder what's coming down the pipeline. I know Tech Marine's coming. I wonder what kind of champion's gonna Tech Marine get. I know everyone thinks it's gonna be Iron Warrior or Iron Hands. I'm sorry, I almost committed heresy. Iron Warriors, Iron Hands, and I know they're most associated with the Mechanicus and invoking, and taking on technology and using technology. Um, so that unless there's leaks otherwise, speculation wise, I was thinking maybe it might be another Blood Angel, but going back to the assault, um, not the assault, the tactical skin that they got, champion skin, that kind of ruined that. But I was speculating that it would be a Blood Angel because of that more popular YouTube video that was going around where there is a Blood Angels Tech Marine working on a dreadnought, you know, and it's like a famous line of like, I would like to see the sands of Ball one more time, or the skies of Ball one more time, something like that. And I thought, okay, that's where they're going with this, you know, because in recent, you know, media, that Blood Angel Tech Marine was kind of famous. Well, we'll see, you know, I'm not sure. Unless there's leaks out there that I don't know of. And I don't really look for that stuff or look into that stuff because I like to be surprised, you know. I don't want to kind of ruin it for myself.
Prepare for heavy resistance, brothers. Strategic point locked. Additional supplies secure.
And going to the boss is the first time I've seen this boss. I do not know what these things are called, but I do recognize them from a Warhammer 40k video, you know, where Gillen was talking about retaking some of his system and victories and stuff like that. It was a cool video, but there's a Terminator going up against one of these Tyranid Primes, and it rips him in half. You know, he's got an autocannon, he's going full auto, he's picking it up, and you know, before he can kill this Tyranid Prime, it like rips him in half. It's a cool video. Maybe I could find it. I don't know how that stuff works with copyright. I was way out here in the edge. Didn't realize that this was the no-go zone, so I jumped, you know, rolled back to the middle, and just helped him clear out the gaunts. And then I knew that was coming. You know, I figured, okay, this is what they're going to be doing, is flying in and out. And they come in pretty fast, you know. So even though you see the orange, at least with my old man reaction speed, you know, I go for it. I go for the dodge, but I'm too late. Too little, too late. You know.
He's coming right at us.
I felt good with that dodge. Look at that. And so I am feeling aggressive here. I put the Auspex scan on him. I want to do big damage. Got the heavy hitting sword, the heroic sword. You shoot him up, and I'm feeling very confident. I am. I feel like I want to be in the fight. And yeah, look at this go. You know, I just get the perfect parry off, get the gun strike. And I was really fishing for this. I was spamming the E button. I knew he was going down soon, and I wanted to see what that kill looks like. And you're gonna see here that I could kill a teammate with explosives. I think that was part of the stratagem, and you know, I wasn't paying attention to the stratagem today, so you know, this is a mission that just kept giving, especially for, you know, someone who's already singing its praises. And now we have to have like this mad dash on absolute. I'm betting, you know, the enemy density is better, the warriors are better, the extremishes are probably popping out more, and you know, if it's, oh, it is timed. I didn't see that on the corner. It is okay. So now I'm with the post commentary. I see that there is a timer on the top, but I did not notice that during gameplay. And so, you know, maybe in absolute, you have even less time to get to the other. And so we're moving, nothing slowing us down. Just all around fun mission. I can't wait to play this with my wife. She hasn't tried this mission yet. She also plays Space Marine 2. She's a real big Blood Angels fan, speaking of Blood Angels and the technique. And So I know she's gonna get a kick out of this mission. It's not too hard. It's chill games. She hates chaos. She's not a bad player. She's just a girl gamer, you know. And take from that what you will, you know. She's a loving mother and wife, 2 kids, and then you know, gaming is not her passion. It's not something she dislikes, but it's definitely not her passion. And so she gets down, but you know she's got to work on those parries. I also bought a Intercessor Squad. They were sold out of the Dark Angels Combat Patrol. You know, I needed to paint. I wanted to do the next one. I want to get the next model done. So I said, hey, well, what can I get? And then you know they recommended the 10-man Intercessor Squad because it can be built into a combat patrol. So I'll be showing more of that later. Thanks for watching.